the most common problem and question that people put in the comments of videos or send me emails after hearing one of my podcasts is, but Ryan, I'm starting with no money. How do I get something off the ground when I've got no money? Now, when you're starting a business and you've got no money, you've really only got 3 options. And those options are, you can be way ahead of a trend, like being really early on Bitcoin or Amazon or Shopify or Facebook ads, because everything's cheap and because you're early into a wave and you get resources that are underpriced and they go up in value later. You have to be right and you have to have really good timing, but it does happen. This is why people opportunity seek. They jump from this to this to this to this until eventually they hit one that works for them. That is an option. There's a high failure rate and it takes a long time to get it right, but it does happen. And there are people in the world that did nothing and became Bitcoin billionaires because they were early in a trend, right? Not repeatable though. The second option is that you can sell your way through something. You can become a really good salesperson. You can create the best product, have the right product market fit at the right time, and you can sell your way through it. This is what I call the grind. This is choosing what you're gonna do and grinding your way through it, bootstrapping your way through it until you've got enough profit to be able to reinvest into the business. I think that is a far superior option than just trying to be right, than just trying to be ahead of the curve. It's much more predictable and it is much more within your control. And it can take a really long time. But I will admit that I am wired to be like beautifully stubborn, right? I've been making content for 10 years to have 100,000 subscribers. I stay in businesses for a really long time and I make them work or I lose my shirt. And so the grind is another option. It's another option to put in the time and the work to be able to get to enough profit to reinvest in the business. And the third option is to raise resources. That is to bring together the different pieces of the business that allow you to grow it in alignment with the vision that you have. What does that mean? It means raising the money from investors or being resourceful in the way that you take on debt. Or it means partnering with somebody who is bringing some resources to the table, or partnering with an influencer that has distribution, that has awareness, that has followers, and the minute you put a product in front of them, it sells. That's a great combination of those second 2 options. If you've got just a partner that has distribution, that has an email list or Instagram followers that are perfectly designed to buy your product, then the minute you come out with that product, you can pre-launch it or kickstart it, and you've got the capital right there, and they're a partner in the business. So that third option is being the person who brings together the resources, does the raise, creates the partnership, and is in charge of just bringing together the different pieces. We call this the owner's model, and I think it's what sets entrepreneurs free to build the vision of the business that they want from day one. You don't have to go through a very long process of being profitable before you invest in the business if you follow something like the owner's model. If you've never seen our content on this, the owner's model works like this. As the owner of the business, your job is not to be jumping into the details of every little thing in your business. Kind of like the owner of a football team would never ever get on the field and play quarterback. In fact, the owner doesn't even go get the players. The owner doesn't hire the coaches. The general manager does all of that. The coach manages the team. The quarterback throws the pass. And guess who makes the most money? Most people think it's the athletes. It's not. It's the owner, because when the owner goes to sell the business, they make hundreds of millions, if not billions of dollars. Now, you as an entrepreneur can sit in that same owner's seat as long as you don't try and jump in and play quarterback and fund the business and be CEO and be influencer and be all these different things. You'll be a combination of a lot of different roles, but if you're starting with no money, you don't have to play all those different roles. There's a very high failure rate in entrepreneurs, often because they're trying to do way too many things. So what the owner's model is you cast the vision of the business Then you go raise the resources and you go on bringing the partnerships with people that can help build upon that business. What that means is that you're just in charge of the vision of your business. That's the most exciting part. It's what you're getting into this business for, is so that you can bring something that's exciting to life. And your job then is to bring together those relationships that can execute it. Now, here's why you will ignore everything that I just said. Here's why you won't do any of this. No matter what I tell you, no matter how detailed and step-by-step I make it, you won't do this because you don't actually believe in the vision that you are casting. Because you are in this because you're trying to make short-term money rather than building a long-term business. Because you're getting into this trying to fix a problem, and that problem is your own lack of money. And because you have no money, you are just doing things for money, which prevents you from casting a long-term vision. You're so focused on what's gonna work in the short term, what's gonna bring you cash flow in the short term, that you've never given yourself the time or the space to cast a vision for what something is gonna look like for 3 years. The irony of this is that if you were to pause, take a step back and think, what do I actually wanna build? What's really exciting to me? What vision do I wanna bring to this world? What problem do I wanna solve out in the world? What company do I wish existed? If you cast a vision from that, it's very easy to go out and raise your first 100 grand, $250,000, sometimes $1 million, just based on the vision and your qualifications to execute upon that vision. Now, I know what you're thinking right now. You're thinking, well, I don't know anybody who's gonna give me $100,000. I don't know how I'm gonna execute upon this vision. I've never built a team before. I don't know any of this. And it reminds me of a podcast that I did just recently with one of my own team members. Her name is Sue, and she has a vision in her brain for a business that she wants to build. And in this podcast, she laid out exactly, I'm gonna do this first to make money, do this to build some long-term value, and then I'm gonna build the actual dream. Then 5 or 10 years from now, I'm gonna actually put focus on the thing that I want. And I said, no. Flip the whole thing. Focus on what you want to build and then put energy and resources into the other things. And when she flipped it, you know what happened? She had very easy conversations with people who wanted to invest in it. Very easy conversations with partnerships with people who wanted to support it and be a part of it. Now, she couldn't see that at the very beginning. She couldn't see how that was going to unfold. But the minute she put it to paper, the minute she started to get excited about what she wanted to create, she started meeting and connecting with other people who also wanted to see that happen in the world. And capital started to show up. Money started to show up. The easiest transition that I've seen is for you to pause and think, what do I actually want to create in the world? What do I actually get excited about building? And then you say, who can help me with this? And just put a feeler out to them to see if they might want to be an advisor, to see if they have an advice for you. And if you can build like a small little board, a small little group of people that are unofficial advisors in the company, you now have a vision, and you've got 5 people who are well-versed to bring value to this project. That makes it really, really easy for the resources to just start to show up. So why doesn't everybody do this? Why are so many entrepreneurs doing one of the first 2 options, where they're either scraping resources together or they're jumping from opportunity to the next opportunity? The answer to that is because most people don't have the conviction that something is going to work, or the conviction that what they want to do is actually meaningful enough for them to pursue or raise resources. The minute that switches, the minute you have the conviction for what you want to do, not the money that you're gonna make, but the conviction of what you actually want to create, that's when this becomes possible. Now, if you're watching this right now and you're thinking, well, I might not have the conviction, or I don't have the network or the confidence that I could actually raise money, that I could bring in resources to make something happen, I want to flip the script for a second and show you very tactically how this can play out for you. So the step-by-step process ends up being something like this. First, you cast the vision for what it is that you want to create. And that doesn't usually come as a result of you sitting and thinking and straining and thinking about what's going to work in the marketplace. It often comes from your own unique set of desires, from your own unique perspective, from what you've seen in life up to this point, for how big you can think, for the problems that you want to solve. For Sue, she actually said, but this seems so easy because it's exciting to me. And I said, it's not easy for anyone else. You're just uniquely qualified for the vision that you want to bring to this world. It took her 53 years to be ready for that exact vision. And however old you are, it took your entire life for you to get to this point where you have the knowledge, the expertise, the understanding, the desires, the perspectives that you currently have that have taken you to the point of wanting to do something different, wanting to bring something unique to the world. So step one is putting pen to paper and writing a 2-page vision for what it is that you want to create in the world. The second part of that is to go out to people in your network or people that are one step away from your network and ask for advice and/or ask them if they'd be open to serving as advisors in your business. That means taking the areas of the business that you are weak or where you need help and going to people who you know share in the vision or the desire that you want to bring to this world and ask them if they will be advisors. Kind of rule of thumb, you might throw them a point of equity. So you have 5 points of equity given to a group of advisors who have a network and who have expertise and can bring value to the table for you to build your business. And then the third piece of it is for you to say, I have a vision and I have relationships. I may need to go raise resources. And resources can come in one of two ways. It can come in the form of money, which means you going out and having the meeting with somebody that you would like to be a part of this business and just asking for advice, saying, here's what I want to do. I'm looking to raise capital. What would you do in my situation? Remember, if you ask for money, you'll get advice. But if you ask for advice, you will get money. And the second way that that might unfold is for you to make relationships with people who have distribution, influencers, bloggers, people with email lists, people who own retail stores. And you give them a share of the company, a piece of the company, so that when your product or your service is ready, you immediately have client flow or customer flow. When we teach this to our members of the incubator, we teach them to do both of those parts, that they should have a small percentage reserved for influencer audience relationships, so they know they're gonna get sales as soon as their product is ready. And then the second thing is we encourage them to carve out a piece of that business for capital. And if you can do both of those things, where you have relationships with audiences and you have relationships with investors, then you are freed up to go build the vision. Most people are trying to play this game solo because they either don't believe in their vision or they're afraid to ask for help. They think that they need to have all of the answers. They think they need to have all of the experience, but no entrepreneur has the experience when they start out. Entrepreneurs don't often have the money when they start out. They simply are bold enough to say, I'm going to execute upon this vision regardless of the fact that I have no experience, regardless of the fact that I have no money. I might not have it now, but I'm ready to become the type of person who is ready to execute this. I might not have the ability now, but I'm ready to become the type of person resourceful enough to execute upon this vision because it matters to me. That's it. That's when you have the conviction. That's when you now are ready to go build the business that's in your head, the one that makes you rich, the one that sets you free. And if you need help finding out what that is, that's what we do at capitalism.com. So if you'd like to work with my team and myself on finding what that is for you, executing the owner's model, and building the business with a foundation that can be a 7-figure business you can sell, I'd invite you to download the resources around this video for the owner's model and see what we do inside of the Capitalism Incubator, because that's exactly what we do for the entrepreneurs who are coming through this process. My name is Ryan Daniel Moran, and I don't think you need to have any money in order for you to have a 7-figure business that you can sell, or an 8-figure business, or a 9-figure business. In fact, many of the entrepreneurs, most of the entrepreneurs that I know that were incredibly successful started with nothing, sometimes less than nothing. The biggest success stories that I know of came from being dirt poor. And often the transition point, the pivot point, was when they finally had the conviction to go all in on something. And it forced them to create the relationships and maintain the focus that they needed in order to go all in on that. As soon as you have that, it doesn't matter where you come from, how much money you have, or what your experience is, you'll find a way to be successful. I'm Ryan Daniel Moran. Thanks for watching. I hope you subscribe so we can support you on your entire entrepreneurial journey. See you next time.